Yes, so we'll be looking at one of the softwares that we use to design solar systems. Um, we have a couple of them. PV6 is one of them. Helioscope is one of them. We use AutoCAD as well. So I'll be taking us through using Helioscope. Um, Let me explain what it does before we dive into uh, how to use it in depth. So Helioscope is a web-based software, so it is not that type that you download and install on your system. For you to access Helioscope, you have to um, go to their website, then log in with your credentials, and then you'll be able to use it. So I have logged in into this one, and so when you log in to it, this is the interface you see first. Um, so you see the list of projects that you have worked on or that is in your system. So if it's new, you won't see anything here. Um, so, but for you that you're just starting, that you're using Helioscope for the first time, for those that are using Helioscope for the first time, after you've logged in, you will not see any project since you have not worked on any project, right? And if you want to work on any of them, if you want to work on a project, where you go to is you just click on the new project on the right hand side. When you click on the new project on the right hand side, it takes you into where you put the project detail. You put a name, um, depending on what you want to work on. Let's say the project name is training. So, so you put the location. This is what you can see the satellite interface on the right. Whatever you have here at the location, that is what. So the satellite image will show that very location because essentially what you want to do is to overlay your your solar panels on whatever it is. If it's the roof, the ground, and well, anywhere you want to lay your panels. So we expect that where you want to lay your panel is already on Google. Google has captured almost everywhere for you. So you put you can use long and lat, you can use the coordinates for the site, or you use the address. If you know the address, use the address. Immediately you put the address or the coordinates, this satellite image will change. It will take you directly to the location. So if I switch to, let's say, I want to lay, I actually want to do ground mount. Let's say I want to lay panels on this field. Imagine I want to lay panels on this field. So what I need to do is, so I left click to have my pointer there, right? And then I click on the pointer to bring the coordinates. So I can copy this. I can copy the coordinates if I click on it. So either I can copy the address here, or this is the coordinates here. You can copy the coordinates here as well. So it starts at 7. Yes. So the coordinate looks like this usually. So if I copy it and I paste it here, you will see this will change. You can see it's changing to the location, so it's pointing to this spot. But again, this is where, so I can pan to anywhere I want to use, right? I can pan to any location that I want to use. Let's say I even if I had this coordinate, right? But this is where, let's say this is where I want to use, right? I can come here, right, and create projects, right? And create project using this location, you know. So, but since I have a good location already, which is this, we're good. You just need to look for the coordinate of somewhere nearby if you can't get the exact location, or you put address. So you put customer name, and you can put profile. You can put profile name, which most times I don't even bother myself. But this, whatever you have here is your project detail, right? So you might want to add description of the project um, depending on what we wish to do. But those are just text; they are not the major part, right? So, all right. So you just put the location and training here. Um, it all depends on what whichever project you're working on, right? You can put customer name, put profile. You can select, like a default um, profile, and you know, you can customize. Maybe not in this video. I'll show us how to customize your profile. Then the next thing is to create project. You don't necessarily need to center it here like this. You don't necessarily need to do that. Just whatever, wherever it is, because when you get it, you will definitely center or get the area that you need. Uh, so next is to create projects. So we're creating projects. So when you create project, it looks like this. It looks like this. So the next thing you do is to select your design. So I just left click on that, and it's taking me to this interface. So this is where you start your proper design. This is where you start your proper design. So you can rename your design. You can rename it. You can change this, right? Because there's possibility that you have multiple designs, multiple versions, and all. So you can use this uh, to create different versions. And if you want to, let's say you have worked on, you have done a lot of jobs, right? You have done, you have laid your panels, you have simulated and all, and you probably want to change something, right? You want to change something. You want to keep the one you did before, and you want to like create a copy of that one, just to change few things. So what you do is you go back to your training. You just go back by one, and So let's say you want to create a copy of this one. So you go back to your training, then you start new, then you create copy of that one you have created before, and you create new design. That way you're copying um, what you did before, right? So you have a copy of it, then you can now make couple of corrections. You need to adjustment, you can even make major, you can delete everything and start all over again. So let's go back to our field. Now, majorly what Helioscope will do for you is to use it using metronome, um, meteor data. It uses meteor data to so there's data that's captured for this very location already. Um, you know, so this place have history of the temperature, the um, the radiance, the wind speed, the a lot of things has been captured for this location, and that's how we have it everywhere. So it might not be for this very space, but somewhere very close to this area has been captured. So you can use that data as well for this area. So the sun height, a lot of them is already captured. So you don't need to worry. So what you just need to do is to lay your panels the way you want it, indicate the shading objects in case they will be shaded, your panels will be shaded. You don't have to ignore that because in reality, in real life, the shading object will definitely shade your panels. So you need to capture that in your design. All right, so where we need to start from, you see this new is where you will start picking your panels from. So the type of panel you will need, just click on new. So you see this green dot that is following your cursor, right? So we left click, we shift because this is ground mount. So most ground mounts are laid to face south, right? For you to get for your system to be optimized. When it faces south, that's where you get the highest irradiance. Because don't forget that your the sun moves from rises from the east, right, and sets in west, but it will move towards south. Right? If you are in Nigeria, if you are in South Africa, I think it goes the other way, so it moves towards their north. So your panels need to face the northern side, right, north side, for it to be optimized. So, but for Nigeria, even Canada, um, yeah, their panel needs to face south as well. Um, Ivory Coast, the Francophone countries, right? Their own needs to face south as well. So there are a couple of them that depending on the where that very country is as against the equator, I think, right? That's what determines where to face your um, the part of the sun which you need to check before you start check before you start your design the part from the part that the sun will take from east to west. So it's rising from east, setting out west, but going through the south, right? So I'm installing my panels now. But the first thing I'll check is the orientation of the orientation of my location how is it oriented? Uh, so if you check the lower bottom right of the screen, you will see, yeah, I'm trying to close. I think eating escape now. Okay, that so I just hit escape and yeah, so you can see this. This is saying that this green arrow is pointing towards the northern side. So which means that if I snip this now, if I snip my screen, you will see that if you look at the green, so the arrow is pointing up. So which means this is the northern side and this is the south. So which means that if I'm laying my panel needs to be like this. This one will be high. This part will be low, and this part will be high. If I draw this section, if I draw this section, my panel is slanting like this, and I have legs. Right, this is the low, and this is the high. Right, so that means I'm placing. So I just press shift for it to make sense. If I remove my hand, you can see I can move around like this. But if I press shift, it gives you a perfect straight line, right? Which is what makes sense. So I'm trying to draw where my panels will be arranged. So the panels are not showing. Yes, that's no problem. It's for different reasons. Number one, we have not selected the type of panel we're using. So I've selected, just type um, so I want to use Jinko 615 or I can use Vison 615, anyone. So I will do Jinko 615. So you just type that here in this box here. If you type that, you can now choose. You must have reset the type of panel you're using. So I'm just choosing this one at random. So it's Jinko 615, and I'm going with um, yeah, I'm going with the. I actually want 72 cell. I'm not sure if 615 has 72 cell. I think all of them are 78. Let me just check one. So I'll go with this one. But definitely you must have researched your panel for you to know which one is best. Probably based on costs, the size, and a lot of things. Um, Okay, so I'll go with this one that is saying 1,500. So I'll tell you, those that are 1,000, difference between those that are 1,000 and the ones that are 1,005 in another video. But let's select the one with 1,005. You can see that after selecting that, I have my panels. But be careful when you're working on the ground mount system, right? You don't want to have multiple rows of panel uh, in a field. If this is a field segment, it is all called field segment, which is this one. You can rename it. You can call it, let's say A. You can give it a name that you want, but this is what we call field segment. So you don't want to have so many panels, and I will explain. So before that, let's adjust our panel. So I want to shrink it to just, let's say, 2. So I'm pressing shift. You can see it's snapping. So what I have done here is so that it's perfect, right? It's a perfect rectangle. But Usually for ground mounts, from experience, ground mount panels are usually portrait, and two of them like that, right? So this is where I will change that. If I change this one to two, so what that means is you have these two connected, you have space, you have another two. Yes, you're not seeing the space here because there are other parameters that we need to set. So this one will be one because that's not what I need. Then I'll change this to two, right? So it's bringing these two together. And another thing I need to do is to change the orientation of the panel from landscape here to portrait. So it's portrait. So it's not showing, right? You can see my panels have disappeared. Reason being that the space I have is not enough for the two of them to stay. So that's why it disappeared. So what I'll do is to expand. So I just left click you can see the anchor points and move forward. I'll do the same thing here, right? And I'm pressing my shift, and that's why you can see my outline is perfect. But still, they are still not showing. So a couple of things I will do. See this fixed tilt racking. Fixed tilt racking are usually for panels where you have, so you don't want the orientation of the panel to flow with the ground. It could be the ground, it could be the roof, right? You want the orientation of the panel to be different from that of the the platform, that ground or even water, depending on the platform you're using. That's for the fixed tilt. So I will change it to flush mount. If I change it to flush mount, you can see what this is doing, right? You can see that my platform now is looking like triangle. In this case, my ground is flat, right? But this is now taking the shape of of my the structure of the um, ground mount system that I'm using. So I want it to reset back to where it was. So what I would do is to select this guy here. So if I select this guy, I can see we're back to where we were. Now my panels are still not showing. So I'll just keep adjusting my parameters here, right? But before I'll do that, I will right click here. I will right click here. This is not what I want to show, so that means I didn't click on it properly. So you can see what I have is different. So there are times you right click. If you see something like this, that is not what we want. So we want to set the azimuth of this. So if you right click and you set, so I want the back like what I showed here in my, so I want my back to be high and my front to be low. So if I right click, if I want back to be high, I will set to top edge. That's what makes the back high. If I want the back to be low, so let's try it. Okay, guys, you can see back is high, front is low. If I want it the other way around, if I want the back to be low, I set to bottom edge. You can see it's low. But now what this is doing is our our panels will face north, and that's not what we want. So we change it back to back top edge. Okay, so my panels are still not showing. Let's still move this forward to see if, and I'll do the same thing. You can see now, right? Meaning that it was not showing because of the space there. So I can now push this backward. I'll push this backward. You see, it's snapping because I press shift. Okay, so I just want to get it close to the panel as much as possible. Okay, so there are still a few things. So my tilt, my tilt of the tilt of my panels, do I want it to be 15, 10, or so? When you can try one, you can do 15. When you simulate, you will see which angle is optimal for you, and you can probably change it or you leave it like that, right? Depending on what you get at the end of the day. All right, so I'll leave it at 15. I can do 10, I can do 5, but I'll leave it at 15. Now, if you look at my panel, you can see this is saying that it's essentially touching the ground, and I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch the ground, so I want to raise it a bit, just to raise it off the ground for water to flow. This is ground mount, so I'll just go to surface height. I'll just change this to, let's say, 1 meter. Yeah, in reality, it will not be 1 meter. It depends on your design, though. Let me use 0.7. You can see now that the tip of my panel is not touching the ground anymore. Okay, so I'll just go back to this setting, right? And now we do that now by clicking on this guy here. Now my panels are packed together, and I need mid clamp space because it's mid clamp that will hold my panels to the structure. So I need mid clamp space, and over time, experience has shown that your mid clamp is not more than 20 millimeters. So what I'll do is to set the module spacing. Right, this is in meters. Right, or you can start tweaking this. Let me just widen because anything I add now to disappear again. So in case it wants to disappear. So let me change this for, so anyone that I change and it doesn't reflect or it doesn't show what I want, I'll just leave it. Right, it is not everything here that you need to change. So if I change this to 1 meter from 0.5, you can see that it is not reflecting here, so I really don't need it. So if I change this to 1 meter, you can see that it has disappeared. So that means something happened. So I can reduce it to 0.2. Okay, so it's not showing. So if it's not showing like that, what you should do is come back again and I click here and do top, right? It's not coming back. If I make this, okay, this is the one that is not reflecting. I can make it 1 and make it 0.02. Now come here, you can see they are back, but the 0.02 you can see. If I clean this and make this 0, the gap is closed. 0.02. The gap is open, but again, it's still opening this one that I don't need, right? Let's see, 0.02 and make this one 0. Okay, so which means that if I adjust this, it adjusts both the vertical and horizontal space. If I adjust this alone, it adjusts the vertical space, which is what I need. So you move, adjust until you see results that you need. All right, so I can get this back. Also, most times when for the structure, they made the structure for number of panels, right? So you want to make um your field segment based on the number of panel that a structure will take. So usually usually seven. I've seen 13, I've seen multiple ones, but let's stick with let's say um let's make it 15. So if you count and if I had so I added this 0.3 which I will explain. So I have 15 panels, side by side and two this is the two up and down, you know, that's what it means. So I can right click again because that is here. So mostly for me to bring it back, what I'll do is right click and so that it will set it, but it's not coming, they're not coming back. So what I should do, let me reduce this to 10. So I'll still do the same thing, right click, set to top. They're not coming out. So what I'll do is to widen it. Can you see where the panels are? Is to widen it, you know. Okay, so what I need to do, this is not what I want. After each panel, then you have 0.2 because this looks like, so if I make this 0, you see that the gap is, so it looks like the spacing here is 0.3. Both horizontal, remember the last time we said both horizontal and vertical, this affects both horizontal and vertical spacing, right? All right, so this one does not really have effect. But when you have multiple rows in one feed segment, then you see what this one does. Uh, it works more. I use it more when I'm doing roof layouts, not the ground mount like this. So another thing I can do, so I want to fit this 0.3. Let me take it back to 0. And I said I want to do 10. So I want this to snap to, can you see? Snapping to, so I can reduce this back to their back because this one, the model spacing that I did, that scattered it, that make uh, the panels to disappear. So next thing I can do, since I want a single table to be 10, since I want a single table to be 10, that is 10. But it means that if I do 0.5, so, so what I want is, I want to have one, two, three numbers, not 10 numbers, right? 10 panels, then have space, have another 10. That's what I want. So I'll keep adjusting this until I get what I want. So if I put 0.3 here, that's still going to disappear. And if I put 0 here, and take this, it's not sharing. So if I put this back and right click, they're back. Okay, another thing I can do is to do this one. 3, 0.3. Okay. So this means that if I close this point 3 here to be 0, this is a set 1, 2. Because of this 2 is a set, right? The spacing in between them is this one. So imagine that I reduce the spacing to 2. You can see it has reduced. But I don't want this space, so I'll still make it 0. Now, if I put 0.3 here, this is 0.3. From this entire, this is set, a complete set, another set, another set, a set of 2. Then I have row spacing of 0.3. Now the frame spacing, what this frame spacing actually means is you have a complete frame. Space between that frame to the next frame. So we can change this to 0.3. And because I have 1 here, I can make this 10. You can see, so I have 10 panels space, 10 panel space. So this is my frame space. So this is frame spacing. Now, module spacing now is the one in between. So if I do 0.02, right, it's giving me this module spacing. So I can shrink my field. I can shrink my field segment to fill maybe just 2 or 3 of them, or even 4. That all depends on what you or on your design. But I don't want. I will show you the reason why. I don't want um my my column to be more than 1, so that I'll be able to know the shading space. So I get it close as much as possible. So I can extend this if I like. So I'll just press shift. Extend this and press shift. So you can see that it's not straight anymore. Right? So I just right click because they have disappeared, they will come back. I want more. I want one more frame. Alright, so I can get this closer to it. Get this closer to it. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this spacing, am I confident that so because most of the time what I want the spacing to do is for people that are probably maintaining or installing so that they will have space to pass. But they won't have um they won't want to be passing so they can still walk down, pass through and come. So after 2 frame they will pass to the other side. So what I can do, I can decide to increase this to 1 meter. Oh, sorry, this is not what I want to increase. I can increase this to 1 meter. Yes. But my problem is I don't want it to be at after every frame. So if I want it after 2 frames, yeah, I'll just increase that to 20. Yeah, I'm trying to widen it because that space is not enough. And I'll push it back with my shift. It's to snap. Now I have now you can see the shading here. That is showing the amount of shading you get, for the system, right? And you can actually change the time. You can vary your time depending on what you want. You see, this is from 10. So I went to keep out, then this will come up. Then you see it's between 10 to 2. So I want, because sun will shine till around 5, right? That's it. You can see that the shading increased. The shading increased. All right. So this is just alignment. Your the panels you have, how you want them to align. You know. So on a norm, you want to place this in multiple areas. So what you do is, so if you look at this, this is the this is the actual shadow, right? And because of um, the sun is setting, that's why you're having a very long shading like this, which at that time your solar is not doing so much, right? So you won't bank on this shading. So I can decide to. So for me to know the time this is coming up, I need to vary. I went to keep out, then I went to keep out from shade, right? So if I reduce this, you can see that that disappears in 2 hours. So if I put 4, you see, but immediately you put 5 like this, it goes up. So so if I want to place the next panel, I'll just right click, I'll copy and paste. So I'll paste. So I'll right click to paste. I'm not sure or you do Control V. I'm not sure why. If I copy, I'll paste. So I'll just use that, right? But using that, you can see the shading on my field, the second field segment. You can see it's saying a copy of it. So what I'll do is just to avoid that. You see, it's still there. It's not there anymore. supposed to come out. Okay. So if it's stubborn like that, what I will do, um, I'll just expand a little bit to see what's going on. It might even be because of the shading. So if I flip backward, set, you can see. I guess it's also because of the shading. All right, so we're back. So I can put it. All right. So now, because you're trying to avoid, because if you're not doing this, right, if you get this closer to the one at the front, the A, you get A copy closer to A, your system, the panels at the back is going to be shaded. So you need to avoid it as much as possible and make sure that you don't make more than a complete set like this. If you make more than this, then you won't be able to capture the shading um, appropriately. So, so I can keep copying. And if you want to check the distance, the spacing in between them, you go to keep out. As soon as you select keep out, just you see the green dots. So this is 7.7. This is 7.7. So you leave 7.7 spacing, for all of them. So um, I don't want this video to be long, right, or to be too long. You can practice and we'll be treating your messages, questions from the comment section. We'll be treating it before we move on to another episode or another training. I'll call that part two. This is part one. There's still more to be done. We need to add inverter. We need to, lay panels, finish it, add inverter, you know, get the right cabling and all for the system. So, thank you.